Professor Swaran Singh, I quote Guardian, they in their analysis write that this is an attempt to redraw global balance of power. Is it correct, or you think that it's an overestimation?
In case Beijing is trying to inch in that direction piecemeal, the Western boycott, I'm intentionally saying boycott, has not made life easier for China, but also underlined that yes, there is a growing divide between China-led world along with Russia, and how Western nations accept or recognize that or want to not really make that a possibility. And some other nations like India wants to still, stay on the fence and not take any sides. But at two levels, I think this ceremonies have to be understood. One, if you notice, last 2 to 3 years of purges that have happened in China's top leadership, including military leadership, this kind of celebrating military prowess, both showcasing the hardware as also about 12,000 troops being involved on the Chang'an Street and in Tiananmen Square, is a one very significant way of legitimizing centrality of Xi Jinping in the party and centrality of the party in governance society in China. So that's the domestic angle is equally important. Second, at external level, other than Geneva and New York, Beijing is the only city that offered out. If you follow the stories about famous athletes, sports people, iconic film stars, corporate sector, as to how they've been held instances one after another. These are often cited as examples of the party's way of reconnecting with masses, media, and military in that sense. So, yes, that's why we initially spoke of Xi Jinping being another Deng Xiaoping, but soon people said, no, he's actually like Mao Zedong. So, those kind of comparisons are definitely being made again and again. And centrality of Xi Jinping in the party and centrality of party in Chinese society is being increasingly emphasized. So one can say that yes, the era of Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao was relatively one of collective leadership, of a relative perestroika, if you want to call it. Things have changed. There is no doubt on it. And these are instances where, again, a singular personality is showcased as personality in command of
forever leaders.
Things.
That's what I call them, forever leaders.
Yeah. That we don't know. But remember, even from South Asia, you were mentioning 3 countries, Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, Maldives, Mohammad Moizu himself, and of course Pakistan with double engine sarkar of Field Marshal Asim Munir and Shehbaz Sharif both being present, and some other junior level delegations, is a reflection that even within India's immediate periphery, the choice most countries make these days is transactional. They do not want to easily choose sides. They want to draw benefits from as many sides as possible. In fact, India also follows multi-alignment. So most of these countries, yes, want to talk about India as a friend. In fact, you look at Chinese media, the kind of coverage that Chinese media has given to India is very positive. Calling India, a kind of a developmental partnership. She himself called India that India is a developmental partner.
I know, I read the article. Yeah, I know. Yes.
Exactly, and front page on China Daily or the Global Times stories. That is very clearly to cultivate India when we are having problems with United States. So everybody tries everything that is possible. And in that sense, I think there is never going to be a clear-cut gulf or divide or Cold War style, 60s style divisions between Soviet Union and United States. Today, one can go back to Obama or even actually Bill Clinton, since when United States has willy-nilly agreed upon China being a predominant player in Asia or Eurasia, as long as their core interests are not challenged. But China wants to go beyond Eurasia. If you look at the way SCO was hosted, the kind of focus in the next 10 years development strategy and so on, China today wants to emphasize that it has role beyond Eurasia, and that is where the trouble begins with United States. And some of the other countries want to also propitiate United States. In the sense, you saw half a dozen leaders lining up in White House. So when those leaders line up in White House, there are different interpretations. When 26 leaders line up in Beijing, there's a different interpretation. So in that sense, reality is that, China is really able to spread its influence and engagements and so on imperceptibly over a period of time. And Taiwan, which is supposed to be the kind of potential flashpoint, I have said it for almost a decade now, United States is only interested in selling weapons and
Clear.
nothing beyond that.
And absolutely.
Ratchet up once in a while to showcase it is still the player in India, in Asia Pacific
But then the
region.
United States also very poorly overreacted. If you look at the tweet of Donald Trump, though, the same line in length, but still very poor in taste.
Absolutely. So the kind of anxiety which is reflected in commentaries from official Trump team vis-a-vis the media in the West, whether it is media in UK or in France or in media in United States, CNN, Washington Post, so on. They are clearly, increasingly, openly blaming President Trump for recreating of this strategic triangle of Russia, China, India, pushing India into that direction very clearly. So the divide inside United States is as much visible as we are talking of the global divide between China on one side and US on the other. Media is openly now beginning to say, and a lot of even Republican leaders, John Bolton has been on record, several Democratic leaders are on record, increasingly openly blaming now President Trump, and there are protests happening in some cities and so on. So I think it's an acceleration of United States being marginalized over a period of time. We may not accept it. Some of us may not accept it. And inching of China gradually, which is not universally acceptable alternative, but is a parallel economy of a nearly similar size and is on upswing compared to United States being on downswing.
Okay, Professor Singh, I really need to close the conversation. A minute, that's it, because you had raised your hand.
Yes, just a minute to say, remember, Bretton Woods institutions, World